Good morning, friends. How's everyone doing today? We have a show today talking about priorities. What does priorities have to do with us? Are we having our priorities straight? Well, I first ask you a very simple question. What is your priority in life? That is closely related to the question, what do you want in life? What do you want in your life? Have you thought about that? What is it that you want today that you can begin today and still have it in this lifetime? It's interesting because priorities is something we talk about all the time. We always want to accomplish different things in our lives, but we always at the same time seem to give excuses, most of the times are excuses, to stray away, to steer away from our path that we have established and things that we really want to get accomplished in our lifetime. Now, there's a very I guess there is a fine line between wanting something and being able to accomplish that, things that just happen. I just applied for a new schooling, and one of the questions to enter this university is, what happens when life gets in the way? Are you going to steer away from school? So my answer to that question was that you make life. There is no such thing as life getting in the way. Life will always have obstacles. Life will always have things that happen through there. Oh, Nelly is saying good morning. Good morning, Nelly. How are you? And we have Chelsea Sergio. Good morning from Brazil. She's in Brazil right now. Good morning to you too. So, and then this question says, what happens if life happens? Are you going to quit school? Are you going to, and that's a question that prevents us from getting our goals. When you have a certain goal to accomplish, something that you want in your life, a priority for the moment, and then again, when that question was posed, what happens if life happens? Are you going to quit school? And the thing is, again, when I said life doesn't just happen, things in your life that you think it just happened, it did not just happen. It's been leading to that. Very seldom something just comes out of the blues, truly, in that matter. Most of the things, when we say, I suddenly got sick, most of the times we did not suddenly got sick. If you look back, there were many red flags that you were on the path to get sick. When we say, my children detest me, all of a sudden, what happened to that cute little boy that loved his mom and now he hates her? Well, most of the time, there were red flags that his feeling towards the mother or the father or someone was already changing. So there is no sudden, okay? Very few times we actually say, wow, this just happened. Even accidents. Sometimes we say, well, what about accidents? Isn't that a sudden event? Most accidents were preventable. And we know that. That's actually statistically, most of the accidents did not just happen. It was not just an accident. It was someone who was either out of their attention to doing whatever they were doing, either cutting potatoes, driving a car, stepping on a pothole, whatever it is, your attention was not the priority of the moment. Most of the time, your mind was someplace else, and then the accident happens. But if we look back, again, there were many signs showing that this was on the way to happen. So again, life does not just happen. Things lead to your life being where it is. Again, every time that we come here on a good morning coffee for the soul, it is never a generalization of all of us. Of course it isn't. It's just a reflection for us to think about. And I welcome any comments you want to leave. If somebody wants to join the camera to ask a question, no problem. I'll bring you in. Sylvia actually is saying good morning. Good morning, Sylvia. So again, priorities. Most of the things in our lives that happened and they're going the opposite way of what we wanted, at some point were not our priority. They were not put as our priority. And that is why many times accidents happen. Again, if I step on a pothole, well, my priority was to get to the other side of the street. However, if I'm texting, if my mind is not thinking of the road, the crossroad, um, I may not have that as a priority. I have texting as a priority. I have thinking of something else as a priority. But crossing the road is not my priority. Henceforth, I step in a pothole, I get hurt, and I call it an accident. Many, I would say, as being a spiritist, there are no accidents, there are no victims, and there are no just in case or suddenly. If we think of that as nothing in our lives are sudden events and everything leads up to them, it's liberating. It frees us to know that we can change that and that we can take whatever path we're going now. And if we don't like it, we change it. And we can't now just blame the world or blame this life happens thing to steer us away from our goals. Why is that important? Because most of the time, when we ask ourselves, what do we want? What do I want in life? If I ask you guys, what do you want in life? What is your answer? And I think I know. What do you want in life? Most people will say, I want to be happy. I want peace. I want calmness. I want joy. People have different definitions of happiness, but most people want to be happy. In reality, all of us want to be happy. What makes us happy may be different than what makes somebody else happy, but the goal is the same. Now, if what makes you happy is to have inner peace, to be that person that just, is calm, that person that you like to be around, are you that person? Are you that person that people enjoy your company? Are you that person that when you sit down, people want to be around you? Or are you that person that everybody kind of steers away from? Well, if your goal is peace, what are you doing now? That's my second question. If that is my priority in life, is to have peace in my life, I have to directly connect with what am I doing now? Most people are surprised to see that when you want peace in your life, their life is chaos. And somehow they kind of want something very different than what they're emanating, that they're involved in, because that seems so distant from them. Now, if I want peace, what do you think my priorities should be? Perhaps meditation, perhaps getting a little closer to my relationship with God, strengthening my relationship with God, because that is what's going to bring me peace. When I am so strong in my faith, when I am so strong in my connection with God, it is impossible to fear. It is impossible to not feel peaceful. We look at Chico Xavier that went through, boy, so many things, so many obstacles. Yet he was always at peace because he knew that the afterlife, what it would bring, he knew how he had to be. If he wanted peace, he knew that he had to be, first of all, peaceful. He also didn't have to be just peaceful, but he would have to be a peacemaker. Bring peace to whatever situation you're in. Yesterday, I actually had to call the police. Somebody locked in my car in a place that I had to leave. I had someone that was feeling a little ill, and this car double parked and it blocked my car. I stayed there for a while, and I saw the person wasn't coming in. I was beeping, and the person, so eventually I called the police. And before the police came, this lady came running. After about 20 minutes, she came running. And as she saw that I was standing looking at her car and getting the license plate to ask the police, I need this car removed. I have to leave. Well, she came out and she yelled, and she came out immediately calling me the worst names in the world. Why I was looking at her car, even though she was double parked, blocking my car from leaving, she came and she was immediately, if one could see the poison coming out of her mouth, you would feel, if you're a medium, you would see blackness coming out of her mouth. And she was yelling and yelling. So my mother was in the car. She wasn't feeling too well. And she looked at me and she says, "Oh my goodness, she is yelling at, what are you going to do?" So I was a little bit ironic and I looked at her and I smiled and I blew her a kiss. And I said, "I'm so happy that that you got here and you're moving my car." But in reality, I was such in a good mood. I wanted that day to be so peaceful that I didn't allow her sourness to affect me, because my priority that day was to be with my mom in the car and be peaceful and tell jokes and stories as we do every Saturday morning going home. We have to go about an hour to get home. So this lady, the more I was at peace, the more she was annoyed and she was trying to start a car and all of that. And eventually she left, just doing that whole wheel noise and all of that. But she was so angry. And the police never came. I called and I did, I called them off because I said this person did leave. I don't even know if she knew that I called because, again, I needed the car moved. But she knew, she was angry because I was even looking at her car. And again, I don't know what her priority is. I don't know what her life led her to behave in such a hateful way. Let's put it that way. But I was so happy. I was so full of peace. I had just left the center and I was just so full of happiness that, yes, I had to adhere to the law. I needed to leave. Someone was blocking me. I gave very reasonable time for the person to come and get their car. I had to call someone to move the car. But at the same time, I didn't allow the situation to get the best out of me. I was at peace. And I smiled at her and I said, "Why waste your day? Why waste it in such hate towards me?" So in my mind, and I think we can do this, my priority was peace. So for every word and gesture that she was doing at me, I immediately just said, "Be happy, be joyful, enjoy this beautiful Saturday." And I know that we do this a lot with a little irony and hypocrisy even, but at that moment, I was being truthful. Why? Because we practice what we want. First, we can be ironic. Second, we can be a little hypocrite because we really just are trying to get to the other person. But eventually, that wasn't the case. I was actually so happy and I didn't want anything to contaminate my peace. So again, my priority was to have a great ride home with my mother. And I did. And we were smiling and telling jokes. And then at some point I wondered how this lady who left there in such hate enjoyed the rest of her day. So again, why? Because I had just left the center. My connection was with peace. It is impossible to want peace and have no time to devote to peaceful learning. We learn peace. And that's the thing. We think that some people are just more peaceful than others, which is not true at all. It takes a lot of practice to be a peaceful person. If your goal in life is to be a peaceful person, to be calm, to be serene, and you have no time to learn about how to be all of those things, then it's very easy to get on the day-to-day rut and get to be like this lady who was so full of hate. And she was saying such hateful words. And then we say, well, I work, I have children, I have a family, I have a party to go. I can't make it to my church or the spiritual center. And we know, folks, that every time we plan to go to a good place, everything happens until we pass the test. When everything happens and you give in to those things, then they'll continue to happen. When you put your foot down and you say, no, my priority is to make 1 hour of my week to go participate in my spiritual center or my church or my synagogue or whatever it is, but that is my priority. I guarantee that after a while, you will have that time and everything in your life will go surrounding that event. Why? Because you put that as your priority. I hear so many people who say, Oh, Debbie, I wanted to go to the group. I do a group every Saturday morning in my center, and it's wonderful. But there's always people that will come and say, oh, I so miss it. I so needed to be there. My life is a mess. I wish I could be part of the group again, but this and that and that. And I always say, well, your priority is your priority. You have to see what is important to you. And when we say that, people get on the defensive. They will say, well, but I have work, but I have this. And it is none of my business to say what it should be done or not. It is yours. It is my priority that I'm there every Saturday morning. No matter what happens, I can sometimes choose to be someplace else. But that is a rarity. 99% of the time, I'm there because it is my priority in life to be part of this group that brings me such knowledge and love and all of those things. So Saturday mornings, I'm there. Very rarely, I'm not there. Here, morning coffee for the soul. I put this as a priority, as part of my priority in life. So Sunday, I wake up a little extra early because I enjoy sleeping late on Sundays. But I enjoy being here. I enjoy reflecting on my own message because I'm the one that first has to study that topic a little bit. So it is a learning thing for me. It is a priority. Now, when you, oops, okay, my doggy's right behind me. So I got to see if I need to open the door for him. But again, if your priority is health, it's physical health. Give me one second, folks. Okay, baby. Go ahead. There you go. Morning coffee for the soul, folks. At home with Deborah. So think about it. If your priority is your health, and then you get sick, was it really your priority? Was it a sudden event? If your priority is to be a healthy person, it must begin at some point with decisions to be healthy. So my decision to be healthy is I'm going to eat right. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to cut certain things out of my life. I'm going to stop exalting anger. There are a few things that you have to do if that is truly your priority. If that is not your priority, then we know that your chances for being sick is much higher. And we know that when people get sick is a call to change something. It's a call to say, ooh, I better put this as a priority. And if we don't pay attention, the hospital will make sure to let us know that that should be our priority. Again, if I want priority as a healthy person, it has to start from the soul. We know that our soul is first, our spirit gets sick. It then becomes our mind getting sick. Our emotions heighten those illnesses. And then it comes out through our bodies. So by the time our bodies get sick, long before that, our spirit was already sick. Again, so my priority personally is peace, is a connection to God, is a way of living. So again, what is your priority? Is it money? Well, most of the time, things that make money require knowledge. Most of the time, then, we'll have to invest a vast amount of time and money in schooling and learning, time that goes into it. And then we get the job of our dreams that maybe earns what you want, and you put that as your priority. But if there's a snow day and you're not going to school, there's a party that day and you're going to miss that test, and then you complain because you didn't graduate with the GPA required for getting that job. You see, it didn't happen all of a sudden. This was just not your priority. That day, your priority was staying home because it snowed. Your priority was that party that made you miss your test. So this is good because it tells us that we are in complete control of our lives. And then people say, well, Debbie, what about someone that, just is born sick? Or again, if you believe that we have lived many lives, then we know that at some point I did not make a choice as a priority that would bring me the consequences that I want. Oh, is it a punishment then? No, it's not a punishment. It's a way for us to change our priorities. Illnesses, sicknesses, is a wonderful way of us reflecting in our lives and changing the way we're conducting ourselves and things in our lives. Many times we waste so much time. We waste all of this time that we want to use for things that really matter in our lives. So when I waste time, I'm wasting the best present that I have in this life, my present. Oh, can we just sit down on a couch and think about life and do nothing and watch those TV shows that will enhance me in nothing? Absolutely. We need time to do those things too. The thing is, you cannot do everything towards the priority on your life, because most of the times we need other things as well. We need leisure time. We need times to just be with us. Times to, like my husband says, oh, you're wasting your time. Is it time to be wasted now because I'm watching a show that's, whatever it is? And I say, yeah, this is my wasting time. So again, don't be jealous or envy those who are in tune and who are walking with their priorities in life. Because at some point, we may not have put that as our priority. So when we see someone enjoying the fruits of their labor, we have to understand, well, was their fruit the same fruit I wanted? Did I put my priority on the same thing they did? And I'll give you an example. School. Sometimes people waste a lot of time and a lot of money going to school. That's what the other people think. But then they get this job that is amazing, and they get this a place in the world, and they get this knowledge. And the other person says, why does this person have what I don't have? Because their priority was to invest in something that they wanted. So I wanted to end this morning coffee for the soul. And I have Raquel here. Be the change you want to see. Absolutely. She's saying, be the change you want to see. It is impossible to want something and not be an active person in doing that. There's a phrase that I love very much. It says, if you want something, you'll find a way to do it. If you don't truly want that, you will find an excuse to not do it. It is powerful. If that phrase, and I live by that phrase, because if there is not a way to do it, I will use my mind and creativity and teamwork, and I'll find a way to do it. Unless and I ask God, if that is not what you want from me, God, then steer me away from it. But if it is, it's okay. Test me, put me to question myself and give me obstacles, because that's just going to make my accomplishment feel a little more savory. Now, if I don't truly want something, it's an ego defense mechanism. I will find a way to say, well, I didn't get it done because of this, or it really wasn't for me. And we have to stop that, because we are so powerful. We have such a God who is so powerful, and he can make us get anything and do anything that we really want. So stop blaming yourself for not getting the things you want. Make yourself see how powerful you are and get those things. And if you can't get them, and if it's too late, maybe that's not even your priority now. Maybe you should change your priority and say, now my priority is this, but is it my ego talking, or is it is it because I'm proud and I have to show people what I can do? That won't work. God won't work with you if your proposition is that. But if it's truly something in your heart, then he's there. He's always there. I want to thank Wanda here is with us as well. And Sue Santos is here with us. Lisiane Diaz is here with us. Well, thank you so much, everyone. And let's think. God sent Jesus here, and he had 3 years. I mean, he worked towards those 3 years, those 3 active years of spreading the good news. He put that as a priority. He didn't let any insults. He didn't let any prison time. He didn't let crucifixion take him away from his goals. He actually forgave, and he actually sent love to all of those obstacles and those people who opposed or tried to steer him away from his goal. And it didn't matter, because he came. He was here. He taught us, and we're talking about him, and we're trying to follow this person. And there is not one person that had more of a straight priority than Jesus had. So let's inspire in him. Let's inspire in Kardec, who devoted part of his life to writing, to bringing us Spiritism, which is this amazing, beautiful doctrine of consoling and peaceful consequences. So these people really put their priorities straight, and they went and they walked the walk. Let's stop talking the talk. Let's start walking the walk. Good morning to all of you, my friends. And I hope that we can see each other here next Sunday. We are going to talk about guilt next Sunday. If that's a good topic, let me know. If you have another topic, put it down here in the comments, and I'll try to accommodate all of them through our next Morning Coffees for the Soul. All of these are also on Kardec Radio. You can always go to YouTube, put my name, and you'll see the past ones. Thank you. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.